We get asked all the time, what's the difference between Adfontes Media's ratings and Newsguard's ratings? So I thought it would be helpful to go through some examples that illustrate the difference. Now, this might sound like competitor bashing, but really, I appreciate the fact that there are other organizations in the space rating news sources and information sources for credibility, reliability, bias in our case. And the fact that Newsguard and others exist just is a testament to the fact that we need third-party ratings of our information sources. Today, I'm going to talk about how we do it differently and what that results in actual ratings of certain news sources. So let's take a look at a few highly rated green NewsGuard sites that are rated very low and very biased by Adfontes Media. This is why rating content, which is what we do, is more instructive than rating high-level criteria, which is what Newsguard does, rating the practices of the overall organization. Here's example one, Occupy Democrats. So we learned that Occupy Democrats had a green Newsguard rating, and they thought it should have a better Adfontes rating because they retracted some misleading content and they label news, analysis, and opinion upon request by Newsguard. Well, since we analyzed the content, like multiple articles over a period of time with many analysts that are politically balanced, rather than the top line practices of the publisher, our ratings came out very different. So their content is quite biased, left-leaning bias, and in a lot of cases propagandistic. Let me show you a few examples. This article talks about Marjorie Taylor Greene and refers to her as Q Georgia, a reference to being from QAnon instead of R Georgia. Calls her crazy with the Q, and then says, luckily for Marge, she's Twitter official with her new beta cuck boyfriend, Brian Fivehead Glenn. So just insults and name calling. The author goes on to say that they agree with an idea that fell from her fetid hate mouth, calls her gazpacho green. Another wording on the website indicates that left-leaning bias. How do we rate it then? Well, exactly as that. It's hyperpartisan left. It's low reliability opinion, because many articles are like the one that you just saw. They have other articles as well. You can see the spread of actual articles and content that we've rated that span from just a little bit left-leaning to very, and from more reliable to less. This gives you a fuller picture of what Occupy Democrats is. And it's similar to Political Flare, which says on their site that they are a Newsguard trusted site and rated green, which means that we are a trustworthy site. So are they? Well, let's take a look again at their content. This one is about Stephen Miller on Fox News talking about immigration. And it says, oh, for the love of God, just shut the F up, Steve. And then, calm down, okay? Because you're a stupid, stupid liar. Now, could you chalk it up to opinion? Could you, like this because you agree with it? Sure, but does this mean that there's a trustworthy news publisher? Well, look, this is where we rate it. Hyperpartisan left, low reliability opinion and propaganda, because that's really what it is. Last example, Tim Pool's website. A little bit of background on this one. Newsguard originally had a pretty low rating for Tim Pool, for Timcast, the website. Tim Pool actually has a couple of podcasts in addition to a website, and they retracted that low rating upon public complaints and a handful of corrections from Tim Pool himself. Now, the rating for the site is 82 out of 100 on Newsguard, which is green. It's highly rated, but Tim Pool regularly and consistently produces hyperpartisan, right biased, misleading, and inaccurate content. Some examples of what that looks like from this YouTube channel. Look at the title. It says, Pfizer sponsors satanic Grammy show, gets slammed. And this one, he's shocked that leftists want to end humanity. It says, half of these people are really concerned about their right to abortion because they have a lot of loose sex, a lot of men, and they want to be able to get abortions if they get pregnant, fine. The other half just don't want humans to be alive anymore. Same solution to both problems. Certainly then the Democrats are going to advocate for that. So where do we rate this? Hyperpartisan right, misleading content, inaccurate content. looking at the content is the most instructive. Now, you'll notice that the thing that's missing from Newsguard's ratings is bias. Like we call this, left and right as it is, because you can't ignore bias. Why? Because most misleading, propagandistic, and opinion content is expressly political. It's not just made up by some people out there. There are folks on the left and the right that expressly create this in order to create division. So we got to address that. If you're talking about misinformation or disinformation or opinion or propaganda without talking about what side is creating that, you're ignoring the elephant in the room and you're going to get accused of bias yourself. So the best way to do it is to mitigate your own biases, get perspectives from left, right, and center, and use those to come to consensus.